So normally on Red's Room, although the last several times that I've hosted, I don't know if I take this personally or not, but we haven't had pastors, or we've had a pastor that was going to make that wasn't able to make it, and so we haven't had devotional. And Red was asking me this afternoon, well, if we have time, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I do write devotionals from time to time. And he said, well, we just kind of agreed on, where the spirit was leading. And I wasn't sure coming in tonight if there was anything that I was supposed to share. But through the interviews and through the testimonies, um, one thread that kept going throughout them, and one that something is something that I have shared many times in my ministry outings, is that connecting thread of being real and sharing your testimony with people. And I used to, like I told Eric, I used to actually kind of get jealous of people with these amazing testimonies. And I used to think that testimony was just the way that you came to God, how you got saved. And I couldn't have been more wrong. Our testimonies are simply our stories of how God has worked in our lives. And that might be the salvation story for you. For me, not so much. My salvation story was very, very generic, very boring. But how God has worked through my life and the things that He has done and shown me throughout my path, that's my testimony. And that's your testimony as well. Even if you have an amazing salvation story, He's not done working with you. It's not a one and done, and you don't have to say, you don't change, and He doesn't do anything else. God is constantly working in our lives. And being able to be real with each other, that's something that we're told to do. We're told to love our neighbors. Well, you can't really love someone unless you can be real with them. And something that a friend of mine a long time ago shared with me, she had a gift of visions. And she was so excited one morning. She came up to me and she's like, Kathy, I have to share this with you. She said, I had this vision and God said I had to share it with you. And I've been so blessed to have this story because I've been able to use it so many times. And I think it just creates such a beautiful word picture. And I've talked about word pictures many times in the interviews that we've done with the artists, with songwriters. Because if we can get people to see what we're talking about, not just hear it, but if we can get them into envision, then we're making a connection on a much deeper level. So she painted this word picture for me that God had given her, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful story, beautiful picture. Close your eyes. Trust me, close your eyes. I want you to picture a room, very plain, with just a table, okay? On that table, there are two vases. One, think something you'd find in a museum. Beautiful painting on it. I mean, just, the workmanship on this thing is just beyond compare. And the painting is just exquisite. You get that in your mind. And next to that is an old clay pot. Think the terracotta pots that have never seen the paintbrush. And more than that, it hasn't just never been painted, it's been broken. And somebody has tried to glue it back together. And with clay, you can't ever get those pieces. You can kind of get them close together, but they're never going to match up completely again. And there's still holes all through this thing. Don't you dare try to put water in this pot. Now, looking with the light of the room, which vase is worth more? Unquestionable. The painted one, the beautiful one. With our human eyes, with our values, that's the one that has the value. This cracked thing over here, this broken, ugly mess that is sitting next to it, it's worthless. You can't do a thing with it. Now, put a candle in both of those and turn the lights off. And in that blackened room, which one gives off the most light? Now, which one is more valuable? Which one has more worth? See, we are made in his image. He is the potter, we are the clay, and he gives us this treasure in broken vessels. We are the broken vessel. But it's only when we let people see our brokenness, when we share those trials and tribulations, those times when we are on our knees screaming out, God, why do I have to go through this? Those times, those trials, he's going to get us through those. And then we're going to be able to reach back, and we're going to be able to pull someone else out. What Eric went through with his addiction, sleeping in his car, that he can share that now and say, look, brother, I've been there, and I know how hard that is. He can help so many people. But it's only through that openness that he can be of use, that he can show that value. That light is the light of God's love that we allow to shine through us. That's where our value is. See, this is useless. That's the facade. It's what's inside of us that really matters. It's that light, the love of God, that you need to be able to let shine through your brokenness so that he is glorified. We all know that famous Proverbs, be still and know that I am God. Did you know that there is a second half to that verse? I will be exalted in the heavens. I will be exalted in the universe. It's for him, for his glory, not our own. So don't be ashamed of your broken. Don't try to cover it up. Show what God has done through you. Be willing to share that. Be willing to put that in song and share that in between with your messages. Be willing to talk to somebody afterwards about what you've been through. That's where that connection is. And that's where God will come through. As we were going tonight, I felt like I felt like I needed to share that with y'all. And I hope that that paints as beautiful a picture for you as it did for me. I give you permission, go ahead and use it. It's God's story anyway. So that concludes our evening